Don Akkermans is one of the founders of the Lenthe Foundation, a philanthropic organization that puts love for fellow human beings at its core. Formed in 2004, it supported dozens of philanthropic productions and publications in the world of art, culture, and politics. So welcome to the stage, Don. It's great to see you.
Thank you.
Just let you get something to drink there. Firstly, let's talk a little bit about the Lenthe Foundation. It's a foundation that you co-founded with your wife together. Can you tell us a little bit more about what the Lenthe Foundation is and what it does?
Yes, one of the things we are a media company. We have several media companies, and 25 years ago we thought, why don't we also use our capacities for non-profit organizations? Okay, so we do make money by publishing media, but then we started in Amsterdam with a company, and it was only for charity, for SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, and we launched guides, we launched conferences, we launched lists of influential people who made really a difference in the Netherlands, and that's what we all did to focus more and stimulate more doing good outside the company. Making money is nice, but maybe do some extra steps for society.
Now this year the Lenthe Foundation has jumped in to support and produce the WEEF, World Ethical Electronics Forum. Why WEEF? What does it mean to Lenthe?
It means to Lenthe that we have a foundation which have a few keywords where we are active in: society, art, culture and ethics. And what we noticed is that in the electronic industry, maybe special in the electronic industry, ethics is becoming huge. There are many people who are very concerned and worried about how electronics and technology will change societies, will change lives. Also family lives, also individual lives. So it's not anymore what can you make, innovate in technology, produce it, bring it to the market and make a shitload of money. And say, that's cool, we make a shitload of money with technology because everybody wants technology. But because in that domain of ethics, we are saying more and more, first ask yourself why. Why should you bring that on the market? And if you have a really also social reason to bring things on the market, then ask yourself how. How can I do it as sustainable as possible, as social as possible? That's why we jumped into electronics and ethics.
Now, your background is in publishing. You've been involved in lots of magazines over the years. How did you come to be integrated and part of the electronics industry?
Well, that is 100% coincidence. It was not a focus, it was not a mission, it was nothing. It was the fact that Elektor, which was the first platform in the world, international also, for pro makers, home labs, designers, and it was out there, but it was owned by a company called Wolters Kluwer, and the company was very mistreated because they went in the scientific way of legal, finance, tax, and the company was at the south of the Netherlands, and it was very bad treated by this big, huge, big billion parent company. I hated that, and I said, well, I don't have anything with electronics, I'm not an engineer, but you cannot do things with people like this, and I want to make some money. I think we can make money out of this company. They lost money, a lot of money. I think you can make money with this company if you treat it differently and all that. So we made a deal. 100% coincidence that I entered the world of electronics.
So do you think, though, that the electronic industry, as we see it today, is generally doing a good job around ethics and sustainability? Obviously, we saw our WEEF award winners. We've had two large companies, Codico and Phoenix Contact, who've won awards. So they've been awarded for their work with the communities and looking after their staff and behaving ethically. Do you think that's the status quo, or do you think there's still a lot to be done?
I think it depends whether you want me to answer this question as an optimist or as a pessimist.
As Don.
Because, yeah, no, but that's exactly what's happening. If you look as an optimist, we did a small research, okay? And we learned that like roughly 10% of the companies here that are exhibiting do say something about ethical behavior of their company, about ethical missions of their companies. 90% does not. We are pretty sure that it doesn't mean that they are unethical or unsocial. Of course not. But the optimist would say, oh look, now they are having 10% of the communication, 10% of the companies communicate about ethics and social behavior. That's good. Let's move that forwards to 20, 30, 40, 50%. The pessimist would say, man, you're late. Come on, if you are not now communicating about ethics and social behavior, it's too late. It's only 10% of the people. That's what the pessimist would say. But hey, we are optimists. The electronic industry are optimists. We are optimists. It's a journey. We think next year, maybe we double these digits.
Now, when we spoke to Professor Dr. Heinemann earlier on in the show, one of the points he made is that sort of regulation of various types is on its way. We've got some regulation in Europe and Germany for supply chains. We have regulation in other places through EU government initiatives, and they're going to force companies to have to address these ethical and sustainability issues. What do you think, though? What can we do now? One of the things, the sort of key point he made was that we should preempt those changings that are coming down the line, and we should start doing something straight away, do it now. Where do you think we should be focusing? Should we be focusing on the businesses and the big corporations, or should we be focusing on individual contributors like myself as an engineer, and me focusing on doing my bit?
Yeah, I think everything begins with saying first me, then them. Because typical human nature is to say, yeah, you should do this, you should do that, companies should do this, government should do that. Hey, stop it. Start with yourself. First me, then you. So what we would like to launch is not more, we are not especially in favor of making regulations and rules. That is also what I liked, what Professor Heinemann said. You can also kill ethical behavior by bringing it into laws, because then everybody thinks, now I have to do it. And you know what you do? If you have to obey a law, how can I find small paths outside that? So I am more in favor of not regulations, but what we would like to also launch is individual pledges. Simply the pledge, yes, I will start thinking how I can be ethical. And if you undersign that pledge and you let it show on a website or whatever, then there is hopefully some commitment and change will come from the employees, from the stakeholders. And then something hopefully will happen that you don't need any regulations. There is a very nice example, if I may, shortly. Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, two of the richest men in those days, now it's Elon Musk, but they launched the Giving Pledge. The Giving Pledge was simply saying, we have such a shitload of money, and the governments won't tax us, because they couldn't give the money to the government. So they said, let's then promise that 50% of all our billions we own, we give back to society. And they started that Giving Pledge, and I think there are now 200 billionaires undersigning a pledge, the promise, we are going to give away 50% of our money. And they did a great thing, because now more and more people, maybe not undersigning the pledge, but are giving away money. Rich people are giving more and more money away back to society than they did before the pledge.
Now, I think one of the things that comes out of WEEF, as we've been talking to people and seeing how the show's developed, and also the conversations we had last year, you can end up feeling very conflicted as to how to approach these ethical issues. Should I be an absolutist and say, I shouldn't be driving a car at all, or should I be a realist and say, well, I need to get around, I need to be mobile. The best middle way there is to maybe go for an electric vehicle, because that's the best we have today. How will we know if we're tackling ethics correctly, and can the WEEF maybe help by providing some sort of guidance for individuals and companies to help them along the way?
Yeah. Well, last I heard a nice example of somebody saying about the plane tickets. You should not be in that plane. Well, the plane will go anywhere anyhow, with or without you, so better step on it so you can meet people and maybe talk about ethics. What you have to do is make the prices of the plane tickets so expensive that there will be less planes flying and more trains riding on electricity. So then the schedule of the planes will minimize at the favor of the trains. But then you need big decisions and big lobby to take care of that. So I think that when you want to change something, we are, as I already told before, we are on a journey. We don't want to stop the world now, because that's also an opinion, of course. You can say, if we stop the world now with consuming, then SDG is tick the box, tick the box, tick the box. That will not happen. So we are trying to stimulate people to make those steps on that journey, and then maybe we are not going to say anymore, well, the plane is going anywhere anyhow, so jump on it. But hey, that plane is not going. That's what we're trying to achieve.
Super. Well, thank you ever so much for your time and the answering those questions. Don Akkermans, everybody.
Welcome.
Co-founder of the Lenthe Foundation and producer of WEEF. Thank you for your support and allowing us to address these issues.